Hey guys, I'm back with another video on the Panasonic G85. I've had this camera now for about 3 months and I wanted to get back with you and tell you what I still like about it, maybe what I don't like about it so much, and I wanted to share a bunch of pictures with you to show you some situations where I've used this camera where it's really surprised me. So let's get into it. So before I had the G85, I had the Canon 10D and then the Canon 30D, the Fujifilm X Pro 1, the X-T1, and then the Pentax K5 2S. Now one thing that's remained pretty consistent throughout all those bodies is the DSLRs would have great grip, great ergonomics, but they'd be pretty heavy, and then the mirrorless cameras would have lightweight, but they'd have pretty shallow grips. In the case of the X Pro 1, like no grip at all, and the ergonomics would not be as well laid out. But what I love about the G85 is it has DSLR style ergonomics without the weight. You get a real meaty grip on it. You can stabilize long lenses well, but despite all the tech that's packed in the G85, the IBIS, the weather sealing, the magnesium front plate, stuff you'd think would result in a heavy camera, it's really not. It's quite lightweight. So I just love the ergonomics and feel of the G85. You get dual control wheels, you get all the customizable buttons you could ever want, and a touchscreen. So it really packs in the features, and handling this camera is just a joy. Now another thing I've grown to like about this camera is the quietness of the shutter. It's just so smooth. Listen to this. Now this electromagnetic shutter has got to be one of the quietest ones you can even buy today on any camera. It's really quieter than some electronic shutters I've heard, like on smartphones. So it just makes the G85 a great camera for silent, discreet shooting, and as a big bonus you're getting basically no shutter shock, which was a problem on the G7. Now something else I really appreciate has got to be the feature set. Now I feel like I can go into any situation with this camera and not be caught flat-footed. It has IBIS, it has weather sealing, it has 4K video, it has tremendous depth to the menus and customization, a flip out screen, a mic input, and this is all on a camera that's under $1,000. Aside from the G85, I really can't think of many cameras over $1,000 that pack this many features into one body. So you might not be getting just top tier image quality or AF performance, but you're getting the ability to do just about everything with one camera at a very attractive price. So the feature set and the depth of the capabilities on the G85 are a big reason why I just love shooting with it. Now something else that's really surprised me has been the battery life, and this really proved itself last weekend. I went to an air show. I took over 700 still photos and over 10 minutes of 4K video. Still had 2/3 of a battery left. It's pretty amazing on a mirrorless camera, and I was making really good use of that eco mode. The camera would basically shut itself off after 5 seconds if I didn't have it up to my eye, if the eye sensor was not detecting any kind of movement. And as soon as I needed it, I just half press the button, pull it up, and it'd be ready to go by the time I had it up to my face. So if you're having problems with battery life, look into the eco mode, set it up the right way, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Alright, let's talk about what I don't like about the G85 after 3 months. The autofocus has not been quite as sharp as I thought it would be. There are times when it will just completely lose the subject and will hunt back and forth. I noticed this at the air show, especially following planes through clouds. Most of the time I do a pretty good job, but other times it would just totally lose it, and because I was using the 100 to 300 lens, it has a pretty long focus throw, and it would take, sometimes maybe half a second, maybe even 3/4 of a second to get a lock on the subject after it had lost it, and that meant some lost shots. So I'd say Panasonic still has a little bit of work to do with their autofocus and still shooting. Video especially. Sometimes I have this camera on face tracking like I do right now, and I'll be standing still and I'll notice it'll still kind of drift behind me. I'll see certain objects kind of become softer or sharper. So I think their DFD, their depth from defocusing technology, it's very powerful in theory, but it needs a lot of processing power behind it. It needs really good code. So I think they can refine that just a little bit more. That's been one reason why the G85 has had kind of a complicated rollout. People had really crazy expectations for the autofocus of that camera, and when it came out, a lot of people are saying it's really not much different from the G85. It's okay, but it's not going to be like the Sony a6500 or the X-T2, both cameras that benefit from phase detection autofocus built onto the sensor. So autofocus is still a sticking point. It's better than my Pentax, but it still has a way to go. Aside from autofocus, the placement of the mic jack, especially for what I'm doing right now, is kind of a problem. I'm vlogging, and I've got this cord sticking out dead center in the middle of the screen. And if you look at this picture here, you can see where it opens up. It's a problem with the Rode video mic or pretty much anything. Even if it has a right angle connector, it just sticks out too far. It sticks out right in front of that screen. So I frankly don't understand why Panasonic did this, because in the G7 they put it up near where the eyelet lug is for the neck strap. So it wasn't a great place there. It was out of the way of the screen. But they brought it back down in the middle of the screen with the G85. Don't know why, but that's something that's like a WTF, like why? So aside from the AF and the mic jack location, I can't really say there's anything else that's really bugged me about this camera too much. I've had a lot of cameras over the years, and I'd say this one has probably had the fewest annoyances, which is really saying something when you consider how much technology is in it. There's a lot that can go wrong, and the fact that it's cheaper than all the other cameras I've owned, the 10D, the 30D, the X Pro 1, the XT1, and the K5 2S are all more expensive cameras. And now the big question, do I regret not getting the GH5? I really can say that I don't, because, I mean, sure, I'd like to have the larger, sharper EVF, the larger, sharper LCD, the 20 megapixel sensor with, you know, a little bit more raw flexibility for shadows. But all those pro-level video features in the GH5, that's the stuff you're paying for, and that's all stuff that I don't really need. I don't do feature-length productions. This is a way for me to have fun and maybe do some trip videos. Yeah, I like good quality, but I don't need 10-bit 422 anamorphic lenses. I mean, that for certain people that's wonderful, but for me I just don't need it. And the thing is, if you're paying for that stuff and you're not using it, you're ending up with a much larger and much heavier camera. The GH5 is significantly larger than G85 and heavier. So that's something that really gets me, like, okay, this GH5 is really not that much smaller than my Pentax was, and a big part of the reason for me to go to Micro Four Thirds was to cut down on size and weight. So for those reasons, I really have no regrets going for the G85 over the GH5. So to wrap up, this really is one of the most flexible cameras you can buy today at any price. I just love what I can do with it. I can just charge into any situation. I got the flip out screen, I got IBIS, I got weather sealing, got 4K, got everything I need in one camera. And best of all, I can fit all 5 lenses in one small backpack. I can be ready for anything from 7 to 300 millimeters. I got f/0.95 in there. Really fantastic. By the way, check out my 5-lens kit video. It's now complete. I'm going to link it at the end of this. So yeah, I'm just going to end this review with some samples I've taken with the G85. You can see I've been to a lot of different places. Really put this camera through its paces. I just love it. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and liking my videos. I really do appreciate the support, and thanks for watching. Let's get started with the slideshow.